So we're going to take a look here at the weather coming out here to the west coast of California. A massive low pressure system here spinning off the west coast. That's California underneath all those clouds here. It's tapping into, this low pressure is tapping into some cold air, obviously here behind it, but also a lot of moisture that is going to funnel into and bring up into the west coast of California. And they're still using that word bomb, cyclone, atmospheric river, pineapple express. You know, there's a couple different names for it. Either way, to put it simple, it's just a massive low pressure system with a deep trough here, tapping into a lot of moisture, and it is aimed at the west coast. It's a beauty. I don't know if it's going to be as powerful as the one that we've seen here a few years back, but we'll take it. We need the rainfall like crazy in Northern California. Just going through some flood watches currently, which extend well into the Sacramento Valley and up into portions of the foothill areas, Sacramento included in that. Looks like Merced and Fresno are out of the loop for now. They did get a lot of rainfall. In fact, down here, some of the areas south of Sacramento picked up some of the wettest December amounts on record, which is good news for them down there. A lot of stuff that grows down there in the San Joaquin Valley and southern Sacramento area. Of course, up here in Northern California as well. So we got flood watch issued here for the region, which includes me up here in Chico, from about Wednesday morning through Thursday afternoon. We are expecting 2 to 4 inches of rainfall for the valley, and that's just from this one storm. They call it an atmospheric river, and that's a wording from the National Weather Service. 3 to 6 inches in the foothills, and up to 8 to 10 inches in the coastal mountains. That is some incredible amounts here for just one storm. Impacts will be widespread flooding, multiple mud and landslides, impassable roads, and rapid rises in the rivers and creeks. That is a certain. So not only do we have this flood warning or flood watch right now, a warning would be that it is happening, or about ready to happen. Watch is letting us know that it could happen and to watch out for it. Now, we have a whole bunch of warnings out here and watches and whatnot for the California area. Notice here in the, it's kind of a darker yellow on my end, that is a high wind warning. So not only do we have all this rainfall coming in, we have gusts up to about 60 miles per hour expected tomorrow. So no doubt with the ground already being soaked, literally we just had about half an inch of rain yesterday after drying out on the day on Sunday. We had just a little break on Sunday, and then we got just half an inch yesterday, and it was already flooding as far as standing water, pulling water, and whatnot goes on the ground. So 2 to 4 inches more of rainfall into the region. It's going to be testing things, and this is just not one storm, and we're done. I'm going to show you guys some precipitation total accumulated rates over the next week and a half, 10 days or so in a little bit. But we do have the high wind warning. That means that it is imminent and it is coming. I'm not for sure why they put me on this webpage here, but the high wind warning extends into portions of the Sacramento Valley, the Sierra Nevada, or the Salinas Valley, San Joaquin Valley, of course, northern Sacramento Valley, and here southerly winds 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts up to 50 in the valley locations. But I've seen some areas where it could be above 60. 30 to 40 with gusts up to 60 mile per hour above 1,000 feet. Local gusts to around 70 miles per hour on the coast and highest peaks. Now that's going to kick in about 4 o'clock tomorrow morning to 10 a.m. on Thursday. Got to remember, the ground is soaked. Everything is it's wet. We've already soaked up a lot of rainfall. So this wind could easily blow down trees and power lines, creating some widespread power outages as they are expected. That is the wording there. And of course, if you don't have to be out driving, I wouldn't. I'm going to stay home and barbecue because that's kind of what I like to do out in the crazy weather. there's all the watches and warnings once again out there. I think the main one for us right now is the high wind warning. Yes, we are underneath a flood watch. And the rivers and whatnot, they're kind of backing off a little bit. And our lakes out here, our lakes are still somewhat, they're filling up, but they're somewhat empty. This is a Lake Shasta water level. Now, this is the current information here, 928.81 feet. It is 138 feet below the full pool of 1,067. So we're a little shy of the top, but it's filling up, and that's good. We still have all the snow melt we have to worry about in the springtime. And either way, it looks like it's going to be good here for the reservoirs. Now, this is just Shasta Lake. There's many other ones that are still running behind in Northern California. This is the current drought conditions here. It still shows us within an extreme drought, but it's getting better. We need this water to continue, this rainfall amount to continue, and it is going to. There's that massive low pressure system once again. Now, I want to bring up a couple different weather models here from tropicaltidbits.com. It's kind of a weird name, right? But it's a pretty handy dandy weather model. A lot of weather folks, weather chasers and whatnot use it. I use it as well when I'm not only when I'm storm chasing, but here at home when we got systems coming in here. And I want to bring up the rainfall accumulation rates tomorrow. Now, this is going to be the storm that's bringing in some heavy duty rain rates along the coastal ranges and also into the Sacramento Valley areas. The flow of this moisture is coming up from the south, which is perfect here for the Sacramento Valley. We don't get that rain shadow. If this moisture was coming in straight from west to east, the mountains would get it, and then we'd be pretty much high and dry, or at least minimal precipitation in the valley. But this is funneling up from the southwest, as noted here, and it's going to be a dandy. Notice the lines here indicating some tight pressures with the low. That's going to bring in the wind, and there's quite a few more storms behind it. I'm going to put this into motion a little bit, and I want to show you guys. We get a little break, and then there's another big storm coming in for the weekend, about Saturday afternoon or so. Look at those rainfall rates. Something possibly even heavier. So I'm going to be out this weekend. Me and Miss Mimi's will documenting this flood potential out here in California. But there's some major systems coming in here over the next 10 days. Now, that's just the weather model showing the average precipitation rate per hour. Now, let's go ahead and check out the total accumulated precipitation map. And what this does is account for all the low pressure systems bringing in the rainfall and keeps it up there on the map as a total precipitation amount. So the first wave coming in, of course, going to be some pretty good rainfall rates here in the Sacramento Valley. Over here around Chico, it looks like the west side of the valley around Willows, Orland, Corning, maybe down in the Colusa County, are getting some good rainfall rates, roughly about 3 inches or so. Around Chico, it looks like it could be anywhere between 1.5 inches to 2 inches, but more so along the west side of the valley. And then we're just going to put this into motion, and I want to show you guys the accumulated rate. It just keeps building up with each storm as we head into about the January 19th time frame. That's about as far as this model will go. And these are the accumulated precipitation amounts from all these systems that are set to head towards us. Now, weather models out that far can sometimes be a little sketchy and maybe not 100% accurate, but they've been pretty consistent here for actually the past couple days as far as the runs go. So I believe this is going to play out and bring us some continued rainfall rates here. And this is a little on the scary side here. Around the Chico area in the Orange region, we could have upwards of about 9 to 10 inches of rainfall over the next, it's going to be about 2 weeks. That's a lot. That's 10 inches of rainfall. Goodness. So we're going to have some major issues with the creeks and the small creeks. And the rivers, they can control them. If it gets to a certain stage, there's things they can do to minimize the continued increase in the rising of the river. Now, luckily, all of the reservoirs are probably around 60 to 75% capacity. I'm talking about Lake Oroville, Shasta, certain other areas in Northern California. So we got room to fill up. But with this amount of rainfall coming in, it's going to fill up quickly. And that will add on to the river rises and the small streams and creeks. So this is going to be pretty crazy how it plays out. And that's here along the eastern edge of the Sacramento Valley. That's going to include Chico, Oroville, Yuba City, stuff like that. And over here along the west area around Willows, Orland, Corning area, where the yellow is a little bit higher, we could be seeing 12 inches of rainfall, maybe even higher, up into the mountains and the foothills there. This is incredible. I don't recall the last time it was like this. I don't even know if the 2016-2017 pattern was this wet. And that's when we had the Oroville Dam issue. I was covering that back in that day when they thought the dam was going to break. We had some cracks in the emergency spillway section. So that lake got pretty full, and ended up utilizing the emergency spillway, which eroded a whole bunch of ground when that happened, and flooded some areas south of the stream, downstream. So this is going to be a really interesting event. I do like this stuff, but also at the same time, I want to be prepared. And I think everyone that lives out here along the West Coast needs to be prepared. Now let's go over here to the North American. Let's see what we got here. This may be too far up north. It is. Well, this shows kind of Northern California here. Right now, we just got some clouds coming in. Today's our little drying out period, but literally, we're not drying out because it's 43 degrees and still soaked and soggy outside. So 2 to 3 inches of rainfall on top of this. Ooh, I might be bringing out the boat, maybe an inner tube or something. But it's going to be a good one, folks. I think we all need to be prepared, and I'll probably be here on the channel updating folks on how things are going. The stream may go down tomorrow with that type of wind expected. Let me bring over the windy map here real quick and show you guys some wind conditions. There it is off the shore. It almost looks like a hurricane. It's really tightening up right now. Some of these wind speeds. See what we've got, 100 miles an hour out there at it looks like right now. And these are they're tightening up. This is definitely gaining some steam. Now I want to bring this in to Northern Cal and watch this thing tomorrow as we head to about 4 a.m. Right, that's when we start getting some of it. Look how massive that thing is. That's an incredible low pressure system. They call it a bomb cyclone because it's just developing and getting its maximum potential here as it comes in to the West Coast. I'm going to go about 12 p.m. or so, just sitting offshore with the highest wind speeds. Northern California looks like around Eureka area could be seeing gusts up to 58, 60 miles an hour. The Bay Area getting some wind, but not the brunt of it yet. That will be coming a little bit later in the afternoon, about 7 o'clock or so. Most of that should be reaching the Bay Area, and of course areas around Napa. 60 to 70 miles per hour there. Ooh, goodness, it's just going to be crazy. And looks like for us here in the Sacramento Valley, it's going to be an all-day thing. Looks like around 2 o'clock or so is when it really starts to kick up. 7 p.m. around Chico. See what we got out here. It shows about 40 or so. But this has kind of changed slightly. There we go. We're going up a little bit. That's around 9 p.m. About 50 mile per hour gusts. And of course, higher up in the mountains, as you go up into elevation, that's supposed to be around 70 miles per hour or so. Not for sure what that's about. But it's going to be a windy, a rainy winter night out there. And this system is going to, kind of head up. This pattern right here kind of reminds me of the El Nino of 1997, winter of 97. It had the same type of pattern where it would bring storm after storm here and then scoot off that way. And that's kind of what it looks like. It's pretty crazy. But either way, folks, I showed you guys how much rainfalls it's supposed to be coming here. Let me go here to the rain accumulation rate, or at least a map here on Windy site. This is the next 10 days. Next 10 days here from windy.com, in verification as well with that other previous weather model I just showed you here. A little bit less, it looks like, but this is 10 days. And we still have storms after this. So this may not be accounting for the these other ones that could bring us well close to my 10 to 11 inches of rainfall. So around Chico, looks like we're anywhere from about 8 to 10 inches of rainfall over the next 10 days. Sacramento Valley, about the same further west here around Corning, Willows, Orland area. That's a lot of rain still, regardless, on already soaked ground. Bay Area, north of Santa Rosa, 15 inches. Remember, the higher elevations do accumulate more rainfall due to the topography, the uplift of the ground, kind of squeezing out those clouds even more. So there's a lot of water to work with, water vapor, and it stretches way out here. And it's tapping in. Look where it's tapping into. Some of this this moisture down south here into the tropics. So it's just sucking that up and pulling it in and giving us a nice winter. And I can only imagine what this is going to look like after it's all said and done. So either way, I will be on, I don't know if the word is alert or guard for any major changes around here as far as like any dam issues. If something does arise, I will be out and about covering it and definitely reporting on it should something pop up. As far as hopefully it doesn't happen, but I will be out covering it. And any stream issues, any river issues that are taking place, I will be out covering that as well. So wish me luck, everyone else out here in Northern California. Get ready for a good soaking. Make sure you got, I should have did a little list, but the main things, of course, you want is food and water, right? You need to have a source of lighting. A lot of people choose to use candles, and that can be safe if you do it the proper way and you don't have any pets or any kids around that may accidentally knock it over and create a fire hazard. We prefer to run generators. If you can get one, they're not that expensive. Even, just a low wattage one to run a couple TVs and a couple lights and whatnot are fairly reasonable in the price range. I do have a couple here, and I got about 30 gallons or so of fuel to ensure that I will not be stranded as far as electricity issues go. I got kids here, so I need to make sure that they are taken care of. And just food, water. I'm on a well, so what I normally do is I'll fill up the bathtub with water just in case the power goes down, because we need to utilize the toilet, obviously. So we have that excess water we can use. As far as drinking water and stuff goes, we have all that as well. But flashlights for sure. Just got to be safe. You got to watch out for arcing power lines, trees on power lines. It's going to be kind of a big deal. I really didn't think I'd be talking about something like this winter because we were not supposed to get this amount of rainfall, this type of condition. This here is more realistic of an El Nino pattern, not a triple dip La Nina, which we're currently in. La Nina normally for the West Coast means cooler and drier, but this setup here is very similar to a El Nino fashion. So I'm not for sure what's going on. Just kind of goes to show you that really man can't 100% predict, what these weather patterns are going to do. But get ready. It's coming. All right, folks, live stream is up and running. And as you can see, everything's back to normal as far as monitoring stations go. We'll be back a little bit later on, excuse me, with the update tonight. But I just want to get that weather update out of the way. For the weather folks out here, a lot of people concerned as to what's going on and what should we expect. And that's what we're expecting. A lot of water, a lot of wind. Make sure you have also a weather radio comes in handy as well for any type of emergency evacuation, whether it be a river issue or dam failure. Definitely good to have on hand. All right, guys. We'll catch you a little bit later tonight. Have a good one.